Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. I'm going to be discussing their characteristics, their applications, and what they could mean for the future of economics and the world in general. So, let's start with a quick introduction to these DAOs. These are, like I said, decentralized autonomous organizations. And Bitcoin is a decentralized autonomous organizations, and they are built upon two pillars: voting and smart contracts. Basically, this means that there's no CEO or no central authority, no big boss you have to um, listen to. No, it's just the community who votes for a specific something to happen, and the smart contracts, which is like coding, like robots who take care of certain transactions or certain actions to take place. So these are like three characteristics, the three main characteristics of the DAOs. Let's say you have like the decentralized collaboration. This means the voting of the community. The community decides how to what to do with a certain thing, with a certain project, or with a certain um, path or a certain update. And the community votes and decides how things will develop for the organization or for a specific platform. So then you have the smart contracts. Like I said, this is coding. Let's say, for example, if your friends you bet on a game like 10 euros for Spain to win in a football match, like a smart contract will say, okay, if Spain wins, the moment Spain wins, the 10 euros will be sent to you. If Spain loses, the 10 euros will be sent to whoever you bet with. So this is the way the smart contracts work. There's no intermediary person. So instead of having a person doing the work, it's actually a smart contract making things happen, making actions happen. Um, this gave power to the people basically. And now you don't need somebody to take care of the transactions, of take care of certain actions, and you don't need a central authority to decide what's going to happen. No, that happens through the community. But just give power to the people, to the token holders. So these are the key components. Like I said before, first you have the smart contracts. These smart contracts cannot change. This means the rules are rigid. It is actually a good thing, I believe, since there cannot be any corruption or nobody just can say, okay, we want to change the things now. We don't want to send you to this thing with your money. No, like things stay the same way always because it's coding, and the smart contracts will always stay the same, always perform the same actions. Um, then you have the governance. Uh, talk with your tokens. If token holders have governance on a specific platform. These voting are usually off-chain or on-chain. This means that if it's off-chain, it's on a poll or regular poll. This is usually for smaller decisions, not so important decisions. And then on-chain voting, this means the votings, the results are recorded in the blockchain. These are for more important changes, let's say for a heavy update for a platform. So depending on what's going to happen, you either have the off-chain or the on-chain votings. And then you can also have like treasury projects. Let's say this is especially important for charities, like the funding of a charity goes to a decentralized system and is stored there, and you use a specific people have access to it, and the money can just disappear because everything is recorded in the blockchain. So it will make things more fair, and it will reduce corruption as well. So here we have two examples. On the right, we have an example of the governance, and on the left, no, the other way around. On the left, we have an example of the governance, and on the right, we have example of smart contract. So on the left, we have the market DAO. Is the governance system of the AI stablecoin. Through this system, people can vote on, and holders have influence over the system, and is a very smart way of involving the community and giving them power. Then on the right, you have the ENSDO. This is a feature from the Ethereum. Basically, you input your address. Your address is usually like a couple numbers with letters, and all that is really confusing. So you input your address, and then it's turned into a name, a username. This is done by smart contract. Like there's nobody doing this manually. Like you don't send this info to a person and they change it manually. No, smart contract doing all the work. And for example, let's say I input like a random number and a random address, and I get like the cool guy dot ETH. That way I have a username that's pleasant to see and way easier to remember. So basically, it turns address into names. So there are some ethical considerations, of course. Let's say, for example, the contracts, smart contracts are usually not recognized as legal contracts since they are an online thing. They are not really seen as actual contracts. Um, then you have so when things go wrong, you cannot really go to a tribunal or something to ask for questions. Then you have the participation issue. Sometimes people, when they vote, in the voting sessions, a lot of people do not vote. They just forget or are not that interested enough. So only a certain type of people, like only like really interested people, end up voting, and this is not good because then changes could happen that actually the community didn't want. So it's important that there's an active users in each uh, project. Then there could be some bugs in smart contracts, but smart contracts are just coding. So if there's a bug in the coding, something could go wrong. Let's say you send a specific amount of tokens to a person and the tokens just disappear. They never reach this person. So this could happen if there is a bug in smart contract, and it's something to take into account. And then you also have the risk of fake accounts. Some people try to make fake accounts to have more influence on a decentralized system. Since you since the users vote, if you create a lot of enough fake accounts, you end up having so much influence that this will always go your way. So it's really important that the system is well designed and there's security against fake accounts. So, like I said before, DAOs have a lot of potential to change the future, since this means there won't be any need for CEOs. Everything will be controlled by a community through voting and through smart contracts, and there will be no intermediary, and all the power will be to the people. There won't be any need for bosses, there won't be any more abuse of authority, since this is all the community and the coding doing the job, getting the job done. So yeah, in conclusion, for DAOs, participation is really important. Like I said before, that everybody votes or most people votes, so not a certain amount of people have power over the decisions of the platform. Then there is a lot of need for robust and proper technology, mostly for the smart contracts that are well designed and the coding makes sense, because otherwise things could go wrong. Uh, it's important that in the future there is like clear regulations about the DAOs, on what their scope can be, on how they should work. In this way, there could be more development and they could be more standardized. And it's important that they are user friendly, of course, because otherwise it could be very overwhelming for the future, for the not for the future, for the users. So in the future, there might not be enough acceptance if they are not as user friendly as they could be. And that's everything for today. Thank